The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report. It is Charles Firth and Dom Knight coming to you with a whole batch of fresh news, Charles.
Oh, yes. Nothing like just the New South Wales election. We've done that.
We're not doing that.
No.
I can promise we will not mention the New South Wales election for 4 years.
But you've told me just beforehand that we're going to talk about some climate deal.
There's a deal.
So that means the environment's saved.
There is a climate deal, and I'm going to ask you a very serious question, Charles.
Okay.
Why the fuck aren't you a Green? We'll get to that. Also, Barack Obama's coming into town, and I got to say, if you're a long-term fan of the former US president, what he's doing in town is not hugely impressive. And finally, I am popular in Queensland. Charles, people in Queensland love me, and I'll explain why.
Let's just get on with the show.
Yeah.
I was listening to the show the other day, and I hate all this
You
preamble.
had all the preamble.
Yes.
Yeah, it sucks. Can they avoid the preamble?
No,
Or
they
Chaser-
can't.
No, they
Just
can't.
get
Fuck
on
it.
with it.
All right, there's a climate deal, Charles.
Yes.
It's been saved. Basically, Labor and the Greens have done a deal which essentially is bringing Labor somewhat reluctantly to the table
Oh, yeah.
on the environment. And in particular, new coal and gas schemes will be truncated under this deal. And the Greens are the Greens are saying it's a big victory for them.
What?
And Labor are having to...
Hang on. We're talking about Australian Labor Party here.
Yeah, there's this, well, I'm not saying that they did it voluntarily. They did it because they had to deal with somebody.
Oh.
Unless this is part of a big deal. Look, you're an expert in the behind-the-scenes negotiations.
I certainly am.
Is this...
That's
is
what
this
people,
actually...
people call me when
They
they
do.
Yeah.
Get Firth on the line, they say. But you tell me, is this actually a deal where Labor's been forced to be better than it wanted to be on the environment? Or is this a little bit of a little bit of kabuki where Labor's being centrist and the Greens get to have a win?
No.
Because they're in a secret coalition. You tell me.
Well, I think actually the way Labor would look at it is they have been forced to be worse than they wanted to be because they're fixing the environment.
Okay. So the Greens have said as a price for their support, the government, that Labor has to commit to no new coal or gas projects at all.
Yes.
So they just can't exploit any more
Yes.
fossil fuels.
A position which makes it totally impossible for the Greens to have any sway at all because the Labor Party won't do that.
Except that they've cut a deal to pass the whole platform, to pass basically
What do you
Labor's
mean?
climate policy.
What?
The Safeguard Mechanism Bill, right? You know, the one they've been talking about,
yeah.
which is putting emissions limits on the 215 largest polluting facilities.
Then the Safeguard Mechanism Bill was all about safeguarding coal and gas mines from the interference by greenies and environmentalists.
Well, the deal they've done to pass it, it apparently includes a hard cap on emissions. This will impact new or expanding high polluting projects. And as a result, Adam Bant reckons that this hard emissions cap is going to make it untenable for 116 new coal and gas projects in the pipeline to get up. So they're going to stop about half the ones in progress. Labor will still open the rest. So they get half. They get half their ban on new things.
So when we're burning to death, we go, oh, thank God it's only half as hot as it would have been under
it will take
Labor.
half as long for us to all slowly burn.
Yeah, it'll
is
actually
the deal.
take long. It'll be more excruciating thanks to the fucking Greens.
So what's going on? Is this trying to give
don't know.
both bases something? Is this the Greens going, look, we've actually managed to improve things? Aren't they kind of in coalition a little bit, Charles? The Greens have said yes to almost everything so far. They're certainly doing better than they did in the old days with Rudd.
My immediate reaction is it must be that there's some trick in the legislation which means that they can secretly... You know how a couple of years ago in New South Wales, the National Party wanted to kill all the koalas, right? And so the Liberal Party cut a deal with the National Party saying, okay, you can go and kill all the koalas, right? And then they did another deal which actually secretly saved the koalas, even though the Nationals thought that they were going out and killing all the koalas, right? And so, and that's true. Like, I'm not characterizing it. Like, that is actually what happened. I think that's what's happened here. I think what's going to happen is the Greens are going to be able to declare victory, but the Labor Party, I don't know what they'll do. I'm not an expert. But
Hang on, aren't you the one they call?
Oh,
for negotiations?
yeah. But no, but I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientific expert.
You're not
where to find
the loopholes.
Gas destroying deposits.
So do you think as much as they're going to pass this safeguard negotiation bill, They've also got an unsafeguard bill somewhere that undoes the impact of all this.
You know what it is? I reckon they've bought offsets. So what will happen is it won't happen in Australia, but somewhere else in the world, like, I don't know, they'll burn down half the Amazon forest. They've paid for half the Amazon forest to be burnt down so that we still have the climate impact.
You're going to like this. You know one aspect of it? That may well be the case. This is a little bit of nice fine print here in the article. The government's going to offer us extra money to support Australia's, I quote, sovereign capability in the steel, aluminium and cement sectors. So they're going to give money to the producers.
Right. So
for our sovereign capability.
They're just going to give money. I swear we should have set up as a polluter about 10 years ago.
We should have.
The greatest grift is being someone who's already destroying the environment.
Getting paid not to.
That is literally... Because the thing is, what do you most want to do in life? Is not work, right?
Yeah.
And what are these people being paid to do? They're being paid to not work.
There's a better scam out there than this, Charles. There's an even better one.
Oh, really?
It's called being a carbon farmer. Do you know what that means?
Oh, yeah, no. I can tell you all about that, but my mum is a carbon farmer.
That's right. I interviewed one last year and I was like, this actually... It's genius because you're getting money from the government for basically not cutting down the trees.
Yes.
Which means it's much cheaper. You just do nothing. You literally let the land just sit there and you get paid to do that.
Well, my mum was a bit different in that she had she got planted 40,000 trees.
Right.
But the cost of planting them, which was quite considerable, like it was on terrible land, was paid for by this offset company that said that they were going to sell the carbon credits to somebody, and they paid for the planting of the trees. Right?
And now she can just sit there and
look at the
farm
trees.
that and get an annual return for not cutting the trees down.
Well, I think actually it's the carbon credit company that gets the annual
be that
return,
as it may.
but
Certainly the carbon farmers,
the funny thing is, last weekend, all the trees burnt down.
Seriously?
Yes. And the thing is that they've already cashed in like the 99 years worth of carbon that they calculated it would create.
That's a little awkward.
Isn't
but you know
amazing?
what? Someone should pay to plant them again.
Oh, Genie,
Yeah.
the double credits.
Double dip.
Yes. Oh, and and the thing is, with climate change, they're going to burn down every 7 years anyway.
And just Charles, I'm no scientist, but just weigh up the benefits over 99 years of the trees sitting there versus the massive carbon emissions by them burning down. Because
but you get both. You get both, Dom.
Because you know that all that giant bushfires of 2019-20, which were the amount of CO2 that came from that was just massively more than even our coal and gas industry has managed. Like they were looking on in awe at those fires. Going, look, I got to say that's a level of pollution we simply can't.
Do you think that's
achieve.
why the ALP are a little bit more relaxed about this? Because they're going, well, we're going to have lots of bushfires anyway. Because there's another El Nino on the way. Did you see that?
Yes, next summer we're going straight from La Nina to El Nino.
So that means we'll probably have more bushfires. We can still destroy the environment, even if it's only half as much as we'd hoped.
Can we start a carbon farm?
Yeah, in here.
In the podcast studio. You'll just plant some trees. So there you go. So that's what's happened. A deal has been done. The Greens aren't going to look like idiots like they did with the... I know that whenever you say this to a Green, they get very upset. But when they torpedoed Kevin Rudd's government and elected Tony Abbott, that wasn't necessarily the best result for the environment that they were seeking. And Labor get to pass another middling deal that freezes the coalition now. Because rather than having to deal with the coalition, this is good for Labor.
What was Dutton's position on this? Because I would have thought that Dutton would want to do a deal with Labor.
No, he won't. He wouldn't do that. He gets knifed by the right.
Right.
You can't be a coalition leader and actually do anything about climate change.
But what if he'd
You'll get stabbed?
Thrown in some sort of, kill the koalas or something for the gnats or something?
It wouldn't have got him any friends on Sky After Dark. Paul Murray would have been absolutely ropeable. Can you imagine what Chris Kenny would have said? I mean, they've said, I know we said we wouldn't mention the election, but their line that even the slight, like when you look at Dominic Perrottet, you're not really looking at the world's most woke politician, and yet he was far too woke for them, far too lefty because he actually had acknowledged that climate change was real. So Dutton can't do that.
Yes.
He's toast if he does.
Okay.
All right. So there you go. So that's all been done. Speaking of underwhelming.
That's great. That's momentous. It's a gradual change.
It's a historic day for very incremental, slight change. So they met halfway, basically. Half the project can go ahead. I suspect if you're going to choose...
The technocrats have come to the barricades And
I
they've
wonder-
filled out all the forms.
What I want to see is which of the half that don't go ahead. Were they the half that were kind of bullshit and not going to happen anyway?
Well, is it because it's strangely coincidental that Tanya just approved 116 gas mines, and that's apparently the number that are now, quote unquote, not going to go ahead. Sounds to me like it might be just like a bit of creative accounting.
Well, it has now passed.
You know how
on
like
our house.
I was going to earn $1 million last year.
Yeah.
But then I didn't, and now I've lost $1 million. So
Yeah. You met yourself halfway.
Yeah.
The Chaser Report. Less news, less often.
Now, look, speaking of leaders who mightn't be quite so impressive once you come up close, Barack Obama arrived yesterday in Sydney. Anthony Albanese was there. He wasn't in the parliament sorting all this stuff out. He was there to welcome the president 2 presidents ago, President Obama.
Yes.
And they took photos, at Kirribilli House in front of an absolute deluge. They're very funny, actually. They're completely soaked, but look very pleased to see each other.
Yes.
And do you know what he's here to do? I mean, Barack Obama, such an inspirational leader, dreams from my father, all that sort of stuff. The audacity of hope, Charles.
Yeah, I do know because I saw an ad for it a couple of months ago, which is at some weird speaking gig for some corporate business.
I mean, you would have thought
summit,
he'd be
isn't it?
coming in to provide leadership and clarity on the issue of The Voice as one of the world's most prominent kind of race relations experts.
Yeah,
he was
Nobel Prize winner.
incredibly inspiring, I
Yes.
guess, the race speech during the campaign in 2008 or whatever it was. I mean, this is a leader in the field. He's come out for an event provided by a company called Growth Faculty, and it's an evening with President Barack Obama. And I think he's going to sit down for an interview with, guess who his interviewer is, of all the eminent people
Oh, no.
who could interview him,
It'll be
just to really inspire.
Chris Ullman.
No, it's a fellow politician, a peer, if you will.
Oh, who will it be? It will be Andrew Charlton or something, will it?
Wrong side of politics. Yep.
Alexander Downer.
Close.
Joe Hockey.
Further away. Same job as Alexander Downer. Bit more centrist.
I thought Andrew Peacock's dead. Oh, Julie Bishop.
Julie Bishop.
Oh,
Yep.
of course it's Julie
Yep.
Bishop.
Julie
Oh,
Bishop. Those are the
no.
two who are sitting down together.
Oh, how awful.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm
Is
sure
that the
she'll
one-
do a
is that the-
very centrist, middling job.
Is that the one that cost like $400 to get on the Zoom? Like if you wanted to watch it live via Zoom?
No, Charles. It's well, the platinum ticket package is, admittedly, is $895,
Yeah.
which
But
is
you get to
very
see him in
attractive.
person, don't you?
Very attractive. The gold package is $695, and then there's a virtual live stream, and that is $295.
Yeah,
Charles.
right. Oh, okay.
Which
So
makes
very-
our absurdly overpriced tier of our podcast for only $20 a month look like very good value.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
But so hang on. Because all of the ex-presidents, they get Secret Service protection, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Which means the Secret Service is currently in Sydney.
Presumably.
isn't it? Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to go and try and shoot Chaz this time.
We should give him a few hints about where
apparently-
Chaz is.
This is because apparently during APEC, the Secret Service snipers on the roof of the Intercontinental Hotel had Chaz in their sights.
Oh, such a missed opportunity.
I know. He could have been immortal. I mean, not literally, he could have been dead, but his reputation would have been immortal.
Yeah.
So that's Barack Obama, the inspirational leader, thought leader,
Yes.
a morally unimpeachable man that he is.
Yes, we can pay by credit card, debit card, or BPay.
Probably Afterpay. You need to space it out.
Yeah.
And my question is, what's his fee? Because it's got to be six figures plus.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, 10 years ago, Bill Clinton's speaking fee was $250,000
Plus
so
hookers.
I think it would have to be $500,000.
But presumably,
Surely.
Barack Obama will provide, will donate his fee to underprivileged Indigenous kids or some worthy guy. You don't think he'll do that? You're looking sceptical, Charles. You think he'll keep the money? I must say, I've never heard of the growth faculty either.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think he was just waiting for an invitation? Like he just wanted to?
We should have asked
We
him on
should
this
have asked
podcast.
him on the podcast.
I wonder
yeah.
whether we should. We'll
tweet
reach
him.
out. Yeah.
Just tweet him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He'll
Yeah.
definitely see that.
Yeah.
And if we can muster the $250,000, he'll probably sit down with us. So that's Barack Obama. He's in town. And the final bit of news, Charles, that I want to cover is just as a bit of cross promotion. I'm learning from you here.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote an article in the Sydney Morning Herald on The Age earlier this week. One of those sort of fluffy things I like to do, just to earn a bit of extra gig economy income.
Yep.
And the hypothesis of this article, see what you think, is that, for many years, Sydney and Melbourne have had this sort of rivalry to who's going to be number one.
Yes.
Melbourne's going to win in population terms.
Melbourne had the rivalry in
its
Sydney,
head. Sydney didn't care because we compared ourselves to New York. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been a thing, certainly there, if not here. And my theory, Charles, and you'll know more about this than me because you've been there more recently. My theory is that Brisbane is lapping both. It's got the Olympics. It had Hamilton.
Yes.
There's Bluey. Those are the only things I could think of.
It's got James Street in Fortitude Valley.
That's the thing. This is one of the things I pointed to is that about 10, 15 years ago when I first went to Fortitude Valley, I nearly got stabbed.
Oh, well, yes, you used to.
You used to just walking down the mall.
Yeah, because there was lots of sort of seedy joints.
But just the average Queenslander would just lurch across your path with a broken glass.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they weren't trying to glass you, just they were trying to drink and they fucked it up.
Yeah.
Standard Queensland welcome. And but now they've even got a secure cab rank. Cabs wouldn't stop in the valley. You'd have to walk all the way back to the CBD back in the day.
Oh, really?
And now they've actually got...
Well, now you can catch an e-scooter.
Yes. They've got boutique hotels.
Yes.
They've got nice... We went to
They've
nice
got
bar next to the
beautiful
river.
coffee, much better coffee than Adelaide.
There you go. So do you remember? So Brisbane might be the best city in the country.
The only thing is, if you read the... what's it called? It's not called The Unbearable Truth. What's it called? The Unmitigated Disaster Truth? No, what's it called? The Uninhabitable Earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the famous book by that scientist and activist who's against climate change for some reason, Bill McGibbon. Bill
I haven't heard of it.
Bill McGibbon.
Okay.
He points out that in the very near future, like by about 2035, there will be days in summer where Brisbane is basically uninhabitable because the wet ball temperature of Brisbane will be higher than 34 degrees.
Wow.
And that means that at that temperature, you've basically got extreme humidity and heat that's essentially the same temperature as the human body. And it means the human body is unable to sweat out its heat.
Yeah.
And you die in this agonizing, painful sort of thing unless you've got air conditioning.
So beautiful one day, perfect the next, fatal the day after that.
Yeah.
But then also, Charles, if I remember correctly, the other shortcoming of Brisbane, which is a fairly major one, it's not just the wet ball temperature.
Yes.
But when the Brisbane River floods, because you know how it picturesquely winds through the city the way it does. It's lovely. I think they call it the brown snake, the Brisbane River. It basically gets everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all a floodplain at the right height. So if the humidity doesn't get you, the actual water will probably get you.
So I think it's one of those, you're right, like nice place to visit.
But doesn't that make it more exciting? It's like being in Tokyo and knowing an earthquake could strike at any time.
Yes, or like being in Kabul and knowing that you might be murdered.
Yeah, or Kiev.
Yeah.
It's the Kiev of Australia.
Yeah.
But you know the funniest thing about this, Charles?
It's the Donbass region of Australia.
That's right. No sooner had the article gone live, an hour or two later,
I
got an email
yes.
from someone who's apparently works in the Queensland government. They've got a queensland.com email address, so I assume it's the real deal. How'd they get that domain? Prestigious. Inviting me to come to Queensland and offering me all these perks if I go to various events. And which is, A, really lovely and very, very sweet. Like, I'm very touched by that.
Yes.
But B, doesn't that confirm it's not that biggest? like, come on. With the best will in the world, if you're a mate, like if you write about New York being good, you don't get an email from New York tourism going, please have a free private car when you come to visit our city. By the way, do you want to go do the podcast in Brisbane?
We are definitely. I think we're moving there.
Someone can, until 2035. Someone put together a package. We'll come and do the podcast in Brisbane for
Make sure he includes free air conditioning.
Yeah, that wet by then. Something to dry the ball with.
Our Gears from Road, we are part of the Iconoclast Network.
Which also includes the Shot podcast, by the way. If you haven't subscribed to that, Charles is being uncharacteristically modest because he is one of the hosts. But check that out. It has Charles Firth, Joe Dyer, the conscience of Melbourne, Dave Milner, and some other person.
Yeah, with Grace Tame.
I haven't heard of her.
Yeah.
Check that out in your feeds now. Thanks for listening.
See ya.